Well, hi there, this is John Teng, and today I want to talk to you about the employment interview by telephone. As opposed to a face to face interview with someone from the HR department or someone higher above who you would potentially be working underneath, this offers a lot of advantages. Now, mind you, this is probably one of the earlier steps in an interview process, but it's a very important one because if you don't get past this one, you don't get to the face to face. So, I want to talk to you about some of the advantages and hope that you will take those into consideration in your next employment interview. The first one is look at the paper sprawled across my table. Now, that's a very long table, and I'm taking full use of its surface area there. You can see I've got those pages all scotched taped together side by side. And then even on the far left and on the far right, the whole sheet is taped to the table. No ruffling, no fumbling for papers, and everything is highlighted, at least those points that I think are important to this particular interview. Now, these notes are going to change from interview to interview, even if you're in the same industry, because the company that you would be interviewing with is going to have its own nuances, and you're going to want to be able to cater your own notes and the information that about your background to that specific interview. On the left-hand side there at the far end of the table, I have a computer. Now, the resume is all up and running. You can see that. You can print it out. I just had so much paperwork on this table right here to show you that having more papers, I think, would just look too jumbled. And then also have some information at the ready about the company. Pull the company's website up. Now, this is just for some very basic information to go to, something that gets popped up in the interview by your interviewer, but for the most part, you should have done all the all of the research about the company beforehand. When they started, who's the CEO? Is it publicly traded? What type of products do they have to offer? Maybe who are some of their competitors? Know those details. Just like when you go into any networking situation, what do people want to talk about? They want to talk about themselves. And obviously the recruiter is trying to figure out whether you are a good fit for the position, but on the other hand, it's going to go a long way to help you if you know about them. And I'm surprised. I believe there's a lot of people out there who really don't do the homework in an interview, just playing the numbers, I guess, see which one hits for an interview. But it's courtesy to understand who they are, and certainly it'll help you understand whether this is even a job that you want to apply for in the first place. So do your homework. It will be very impressive to them, and certainly even if you don't get the position, you will have left a great impression on that company. Maybe something else that will pop up that's not that particular position, but if you've made a good impression on them, they'll call you back. A landline. You got a landline on the table. Try to avoid the cell phone if you can. The reception issues, the lack of battery power possibly on your phone. You try to take the call in a parking lot and someone's burglar alarm goes off on the car, the siren. These are issues. You want to be in a quiet environment where you have a reliable call and be on time. Sit down at the table 10 minutes before, collect your thoughts, and be ready for the call. Don't rush to the table and be huffing and puffing. Be ready. I've got some water on the table there, something to drink, but no food. Please, no food. You don't want to have your mouth full of food. You don't want any crumpling of papers or packaging, some plastic wrappers. That's a big no-no. And then you'll also see here, I've got a separate piece of paper that's on the table here with a highlighter and a pen. While you're talking, the recruiter's over there furiously taking notes about you. You should be doing the same thing as well as they are speaking. Maybe questions that you will to ask before the interview is over, maybe some details about the company that you hadn't considered before. So have all that ready at your disposal. The great thing about this type of interview is that you can do it in your own environment. It's familiar. There's no time changes flying to an interview or traffic to stress you out walking into a new environment. You've got your papers, you've got something to drink, you're in your world, okay? And use this to your advantage. And hopefully this gets you to the next step. From there on, certainly you got to be your game has to be improved. You're probably there with even more people in the hallway going face to face with an interviewer, but you don't get to that privilege unless you're successfully at this point. And another point that I want to make up here as well is to really apply for a job sharing truly who you are as an applicant. I had some advice that I was given when I was just getting into the professional world, that every job is the right job for you. Well, I think that's really a disservice to yourself and also to your potential employer. You could fake your way into some job and realize you're not a good fit, you're not happy, you're not thriving there, you're not really putting in the effort that a more enthusiastic employee would. And so you do yourself a disservice and you do them. You've wasted time and money for everybody, for yourself and for the company. So if you're transparent, if you're truly being yourself, you can find a position that really fits you, that you can thrive in, you can be happy in, that you can grow in. And then when it's time for you to leave, if and when that happens during your professional career, you can shake hands and have a referral to take to your next place of employment. So do yourself a favor and be real, okay? And last but not least is there's probably some type of matchmaker that puts you in front of this recruiter, all right? Or of this HR person or interviewer. And that could be a recruiter. And you want to take care of that person. You want that person to look like $1 million. You want that person to have confidence, regardless of whether you get this job or not, or it's the right fit for you, but that they'll come back to you for other employment opportunities. They've got a job as well. They've got to look good. They've got to be seen as a professional that's putting the right people in front of their clients. So if you are a good person and you speak well and you present yourself well, that recruiter is going to have more confidence to put you in front of other opportunities in the future. Take care of that recruiter, that matchmaker, okay? So these are some details and some advantages that you have during the telephone portion of an employment interview. And I wish you the very best as you go through this particular portion of your progress to your next job.